going on there, YouTube? New project today. Right before I went out to Florida for USTE, I picked this truck up off my buddy Ray Wallace. If you haven't seen his videos, he's been doing more real car stuff lately than RC, but he's got a lot of these RCmodelex trucks. If you're not familiar with these, it's a company, I believe out of the Czech Republic, and they are all steel welded frames. He's got chassis for just about every hard body on the market. And they sell just parts and kits. You can buy complete trucks painted, ready to go, or just a roller. And that's some really cool stuff. And I think I bought a Jeep YJ chassis off eBay, and I just never got it built, and I ended up having to sell it off and all that. But I think this is Ray's oldest truck, and these things are expensive. This kit, I believe, was about $1,000, and that wasn't the finished version. And Ray's had this truck, and he gave me a really good deal on it, and just had the promise that I would make some videos on it and bring it back to life. So yeah, we're gonna start tearing into it a little bit. One thing about Ray, he is tough on his rigs. This thing has been through hell, and he drives them, you know, he drives them like you're supposed to. I think that's cool because it's gonna have a lot of scale patina, real damage and stuff like that, but it needs gone through. It needs some love. Right now, the rear suspension is not even connected. He was in the process of putting a shorter wheelbase body on it, so he adjusted it. I'm gonna have to try to piece together links to get the wheelbase correct for Hilux again. But yeah, the whole time I was out at USTE, I was just imagining driving these trucks, driving one of these, because it's a little bit more capable than our Trailfinder 2, and it's pretty scale. You know, it's got the bumpers and the sliders all welded to the chassis. And but yeah, we'll get into that more in a minute. So let's do a walk around here and see what we got. So this truck's got a lot going on. Up front, we have a very realistic ARB style bumper, and that is part of the chassis. It's got the brush guard and everything. This one has a winch already. I don't know. I will have to get electronics in a minute. He hadn't driven this one in a while, so it's pieced together. When I first met Ray, we did some videos, and there's a comparison between this and the Trailfinder 2. I'll try to put a link in the description for that. It's original Tamiya body, not a RC4wd Mojave. So we got the round lights. We have the Toyota grill emblem. We've got these big old rubber fender flares glued to the body. Mixed feelings about those, but I haven't decided yet what body I'm going to run on this. If I'm going to keep this body. I mean, obviously I'm going to keep it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to keep it on this truck. That ARB bumper, it is just dying to have a 4Runner behind it, I think. But we might just have to play with that and see what it looks like. But so out back we've got a Proline toolbox that's pretty worse for the wear. Cooler, it's been beat up. Got some boxes of parts and some stuff just strapped in the bed, rope hanging from the roll bar. The rear bumper is just a tube, but it is welded to the chassis. And we've got toe shackles and mounts welded on there as well. It's a pretty complete kit, just needs some cleaning up. On the other side, same story. So let's take the body off here and take a look. These trucks are pretty basic, just a welded chassis. Can't take cross members out or anything like that. We've got our body mounts for the Hilux. There are 4-link front and rear, no 3-link in the front, just 4-link. Front mounted servo. Can't tell what that is because he's waterproofed the heck out of it. And it's got a decent Holmes Hobby motor. Sounds like, I've turned it over, it sounds like it's still good. And all the RCmodelex rigs run an HPI Wheelie King transmission. It's basically just a gear reduction unit. It's nice, small, and light. And transfer case is one of those things you've seen on eBay. Don't really know what brand or anything they are. I'm sure it's an old version of something that some brand made, but you only see them on eBay and stuff for $35-40 or so. We got a lot of wiring here because he had full lights. He had, I don't even know what, I think that may be for the lights on the cab. Maybe that one was. He kept his ESC, which is fine. He had a light controller, and there's a button over here to change the settings of the lights. It was doing strobes and all kinds of stuff. I believe this is the winch controller. Looks like it. And the elephant in the room actually has a real car horn mounted back here. I always thought that was crazy. It was neat because you could fire it off from the controller and it'd honk and stuff, but I'm probably not going to keep that just because of space. Especially if I end up trying to run the 4Runner body. I'm not sure how much clearance we'll have. But yeah, you can see the chassis here is all just flat bar. It bulges out here in the rear a little bit. It's all welded up. Again, missing the 4-link for the rear. So let's take a look underneath. Okay, so that's a Savox SA1230. I don't know where that stands as far as power or anything, but these are the original RC4 drive Yoda 1 axles, and I won't know until we start tearing it apart what kind of shape they're in. They've been beaten up pretty good, but they still spin, I know that, so we'll just have to see if they need bearings and grease and all that or not. You can see the transfer case a little better there. Just a nice, simple, very simple driveline. Very, very nice, very plain. Easy to work on, hopefully. See my 4-link rods here, just a little short. Yeah, not a whole lot to it. I mean, these are super expensive kits. I believe he sent me a link to this one when he bought it. Was about $999. And that was the body not finished. It did come with the body, but no electronics, none of that stuff. But just got regular old SEX10 shocks. I guess he was like me with those. They work. They're great. You don't need a super high dollar aluminum fancy piggyback shock or nothing. Those little plastic kit shocks seem to do the job well. So I think first we're going to try to sort out some links here for the rear. I really want to tear it down more and try to clean it. I may remove the servo and do some stuff to clean up the front bumper a little bit. And but yeah, let's start looking at links. So that escalated quickly. Ever since I picked this up, I had my 4Runner with me, and I showed Ray. He hadn't seen one in person yet. And that's the first thing we both thought of, was how would this look on that chassis with that ARB bumper and all that. A couple issues making it fit. I've got it sitting level now, the body mounts are lining up. The servo location is an issue. I have the servo about taken out right now. I really need a short servo. That would solve all my problems. For now, I may have to just space the servo down and reconfigure the servo horn to make it work. I need a real nice low profile servo like the one I put on the Blazer build way back in the day. That was a ProTech. The body is a little wider than the bumper. That bothers me a little bit. The rear bumper looks perfect, and I think the gate will actually open still. We'll flip it around here in a minute and see. Once we tighten or install bolts for the side of the body mounts, I'm going to use spacers, and it will pull it in a little bit so our step / rock slider will not be quite as flush with the body. It's all just kind of worked out. The transmission or the transfer case crossmember thing, the cover plate right there, sits perfectly flat on the interior floor. I did have to trim the rear shock towers. Let me take it out here and show you. See if you can tell from that angle. I did have to take the top off of the rear shock towers. They are part of the chassis. It's all made in, so I just cut about, not quite ½ an inch off of them. And that part also sits flush on the drop bed floor inside. And it all jiving pretty well so far. The problem with the servo in the front, because this has a fake kind of core support that has the magnet for the hood latch and stuff like that, it does sit back in here a little bit. And I did trim it. I trimmed it out of the body, but the servo needs to be no taller than that because the magnet part for the hood latch and stuff takes up some space. It was mounted on the inside, which was nice for ground clearance and not getting in the way of stuff, but I flipped it to the bottom, but it still needs a little bit more, so I can add spacers on the bottom. I really didn't want to because it's going to expose the servo and the steering to rocks and stuff a little bit more than I'd like. So until I can find a better servo, that'll probably be the fix that we go with. I am going to have to modify the servo horn because it is going to hit the axle in the current position, so it needs to be a little bit shorter. That's just a plastic servo arm on there, so nothing real spectacular. The rear suspension, I did add a spacer to the lower links on the front because it was giving me, it almost had a straight pinion angle and it looked a little funny. Put the steering kind of at an odd angle, so I added about a 2 or 3 millimeter spacer on the bottom links, and that also helped with the wheelbase. Plus, with these tires, I was worried about them hitting the rock sliders. The rear, I've got 73 millimeter RC4wd drive rods on the bottom with 5 millimeter spacer and long rod ends on all ends. The upper links are 40 millimeter with about 15 worth of spacers and the long angled rod ends. And that's got the pinion angle okay. I'm not sure that drive shaft, that was a shorter shaft that Ray had put on here because he had shortened the wheelbase. It seems tight. It's holding up fine. We'll have to see once we get to drive it how it's all going to work out. So yeah, the next step is to get the servo back together and readjust the steering and go from there. I'm probably not going to be able to drive this. I'm out of electronics again, so I'm going to have to I do have a receiver I could use for this. I'm going to have to find me another ESC and figure out battery mount. The Modelex kits, they usually show the battery about right here, which will fit perfectly under the rear seat of the 4Runner, but there's nothing to mount to. And our upper link mounts stick up just a little bit, so I thought about making the battery mount to the body, because there's a perfect flat spot underneath the body where the rear seat screws down. So maybe we can come up with some simple thing, but there's still plenty of room. I can still run my big stick pack and not have to worry about it. As far as electronics, the Hobbywing ESC should be fine. It should fit flush as long as it doesn't stick up higher than that plate, because this is the plate I was saying sits flush on the floorboard of the 4Runner interior. And yeah, I think with just these mounting points, this is not going to touch the body, and the 4Runner does not have rear mounts anyway. This is raised for the Tamiya Hilux body, so it'll bolt to that drop floor section where your power switch is supposed to go on it. But that won't be used. I even thought about maybe might be able to mount a spare tire back there. Looks like a spare tire cross member. I don't know if I'll use this good one here, but we might could do something like that. I'll have to see. I don't know where the spare tire was mounted on these 4Runners, if it was inside or. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna get the servo thrown back in. Alright guys, so didn't really notice there till the end, the output of the transmission was rubbing the transmission tunnel in the floorboard. So I had to grind that down a little bit, and I've lowered the transmission as far as it'll go on its mount. And looks like we're fine now. It's really close, but I mean that's kind of legit. So, get the body mounted up. You can see here where I'm talking about putting the battery. There's plenty of room. We'll figure out some sort of way to strap it down, but that'll be nice out of the way and low profile. I'm not 100% sure on these tires and wheels yet. I have some mudslingers, I think, with black wagon wheels that are 155s. I think more rubber is going to look better on here than these 19s do, but I don't know. We'll try them on and see. As far as the axles go, I feel pretty good. Alright guys, body is on, and not too much rubbing in the front, not really too much in the back either. It's going to be interesting to see how this works. The shocks may be pretty worn out. Those axial shocks look like they had leaked quite a bit. I don't think I have any new sets of those laying around. I might have a couple. But yeah, I'd like to drive it first and see how it does. The perfect width, those 5 or 6 mil spacers. The doors seal perfectly even. Magnets and everything work. I was sitting there struggling putting those in from the bottom when I could just open the door and I can get to them right there. It bolts on just like it does on the TF2. The bumper thing still bothers me a little bit. It sits a little low. Yeah. I don't know why it's sitting low. I think maybe that servo's keeping it up a little bit. I don't know. It's you know, it wasn't made for it, but man, it sure fits good everywhere else. The bumper was the main reason I wanted to do this, because I love that ARB style, but I don't know. We'll still think about upgrading servo. So I've got these wheels. These are 155 wagon wheels with mudslingers. I'm going to throw these on this side. We can see if maybe they look a little better. I think this, I don't know. I always get weirded out with 1.9s on a scale rig. I've always been about the 1.55s, and you know, it's just my thing. Did want to show you the back. That bumper could not fit any more perfectly, and unlike all the Trail Finder bumpers, it works with the tailgate. Doesn't get in the way at all. Fits perfect. Sticks out just enough, not too far, not too little. So I'm digging it. So let's swap the wheels out real quick and take a look here. It's hard to tell the angles of the forelink on the front and the back. You can see you get a lot of movement this way, not just up and down. That was always the problem with these Model X chassis. It seemed like they trying to get too much ground clearance in the middle, so your suspension moved outward as it traveled up towards the ends of the vehicle. But I've got the wheelbase set pretty good. I wish we could keep about that height. Maybe if we play with the shocks a bit more, we can bring it down and have a little bit more of a droop setup. But anyway, I'm going to swap out the tires on this side. Alright guys, what do y'all think? Comment below which one you prefer. I like a little bit more tire. I really like the other wheels better. I wish they were 1.55s. That would just really be perfect. They're not... They stick out a little bit more. I don't know. I'll base this decision solely on comments. But overall, I'm digging it. So like I said, I'm going to have a little bit more rubbing with these. And yeah. But I'm liking the 4Runner. This is kind of how I envisioned it when I first started building it. But I mean, it was so cool having the original bumper with the air dam and everything on it. I had to start out like that and work my way to more custom. But with the sliders and the bumpers on this, I think it's fantastic, and I think this chassis is going to perform pretty well because this, like I said, this is all steel. This isn't aluminum, so it's not lightweight, and it's good to have all that weight down low, especially with the body's not super heavy, but it's a lot of detail, a lot of stuff going on up top with all the interior and stuff. So I think it's going to be a good performer. I need probably that servo will probably be all right. I need ESC, and we need to figure out a battery mount for next time. But that's all we got time for today. It's running out of time before I've got to get ready to go to bed. So I appreciate you guys watching. And again, comment below which wheels do you prefer. Do you like these 1.55 mudslingers or the 1.9? What are these called again? Trail Busters. Now these are old and they're kind of cracked, so I don't know how much that would affect performance any, but I don't know. It's just a matter of 1.5s or 1.9s. But appreciate y'all watching. Be sure to check me out on Instagram and Facebook, RC Everyday, and keep a scale. I'll see y'all in the next video.